Garcia whacks one to left, hit a ton, way back, goal! Home run, Junior Griffey. Larkins won the game.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Joey Votto's done it again.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
Get out of here, baseball. He scored. Oh, my God. You believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up.
Homer Bailey's second career no-hitter. 7th heaven in 7 consecutive games. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Hey, this is John Zadak, TV voice of the Cincinnati Reds, and you're up for Late Night Reds Talk.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tim Daniel. Welcome to an early edition of Late Night Reds Talk Live. The live show and podcast that loves the Cincinnati Reds, part of the BLEAV Network, presented as always by BetOnline. This show is live streamed on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and the podcast version is always up the next morning. Today, I'm joined by our good friend Carlos Guevara, our good pal Nick Kirby. You know, he gets the day off. Everybody gets a day off sometime. So Nick has earned it. He definitely deserves to have this. So we're going to let him enjoy his time with his kids tonight before the Guardians play at 7 o'clock. But if you are watching tonight on YouTube, please take 2 seconds to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us continue to grow. Before we do get started, let's tell you about our partner, BetOnline, who has the Cincinnati Bengals as 6-point favorites this Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. As your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join today and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Please make sure to use the promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Carlos, how are you, buddy? Thanks, man. Thanks. You doing all right?
Dude, I'm doing great.
I figured you're doing great.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, I figure you're doing great because your San Diego Padres, the team that gave you the opportunity to live out your lifelong dream, had a major upset over the LA Dodgers, and I'm sure that was just a fantastic weekend for you.
Dude, it was awesome. I was just happy that they got there, hoping that they'd snake a game or two, make it interesting, and then Saturday rolled around and you could see the possibilities of something special happening, and the game's getting started so late. It was 1 a.m. before it was over here, and it was fun. It's my mom. She was really the only one texting me for the end of that game, the only one up watching it, I guess. So that was a cool moment to share with her. And then it was that had to have been probably, I'd say, top 3 moments in the last maybe 10 plus years. For me, whenever LeBron won it all for Cleveland, that was really special. And when Tiger won his last Masters, and I'd say probably this one, those two. Hopefully, this one gets trumped by the series to come, and maybe one more after that. But it's been a fun ride. It's been cool.
Yeah, man, it's been really awesome. I know. To let everyone behind the curtain, you and Nick woke me up Saturday night with Holy SHIT. So Nick, when he edits this, doesn't have to blur it out. I was very much asleep, and my phone's going crazy from you two. And Nick goes, "Tim, turn on baseball." And I turned it on, and I saw the end and fell right back asleep.
Yeah, I didn't go probably to bed till about 2:30, and I was heavily under the influence by then, and I still
with
had
a cigar
too much
to enjoy
energy
the
to stay
night.
up, and I was like, I'm not letting this moment go. This was awesome. It was fun.
It was awesome. And anytime the Dodgers lose, an angel gains their wings.
Yeah.
So that was pretty
I'll
cool.
save the Dodger bashing for an episode after Padres are done playing. I don't want any bad juju on them right now.
So I shouldn't bring up Dave Roberts going on the Dan Patrick Show in March and saying, "Mark it down, we will be in the World Series."
Oh, you can say it. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, buddy. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, but let's talk about the rest of the playoffs. So this is how everything has looked. I did change my pick last week in the Guardians-Yankees series on last week's episode. I kind of felt really good about the Guardians, and the fact they're in Game 5 and a bullpen matchup really kind of feels pretty confident. But obviously the Yankees are at home. That crowd, as you can recall, are pretty
God, I hope
insane.
we all get this wrong.
Yeah, I did too. We all got the Astros right. How about an 18-inninger on 2 games in 1 for the Seattle fans for their first playoff game in history? I mean, in 20 years.
Man, that
Nick
series was so close to being so different.
I know, man. It was
Unbelievable.
like every chance. It was wild. Nick was the only one that got the Phillies right. I actually picked the Braves to win the National League. So joke's on me. Obviously, I will not be getting the next round correct. And then we all picked, of course, the Dodgers. I know how much that pains you to do, but obviously you can celebrate now. So what have you thought, man? I think so Nick and I talked last week. We thought Wild Card Weekend was a total success. Just the fact of how every series was fun. You got all these crazy pitching matchups. And then I really thought that this has been it sucks the Reds obviously are not close to the playoffs, but I really think this playoffs has been awesome. I think it's been such a great blast. We're not having like all these blowout games. We're seeing a lot of really interesting dynamics. I mean, besides the Philly clincher in Atlanta, that was really kind of the biggest blowout. But really, I mean, obviously, San Diego with the big upset. Cleveland maybe pulling off the upset tonight in a bullpenner. What have you thought about the postseason so far? You been enjoying it?
It's been great, man. I mean, even the opening rounds, the wild card, those were fun. It's been fun. I think the new format works well. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more later on down in the off season about what our thoughts were about that. But I mean, anything can happen. You've got 200 win teams going down in the NL. That's wild. Anything can happen in a short series, and Padres are showing that. The Phillies are showing that. You just got to get hot. And I've seen a couple of bets, on each of these games. I forget which one it was last week. I think it was maybe the Phillies. They were like plus 100 going into it with Austin Nola pitching or something like that. And it was, I know they were an underdog, but some of these lines don't make sense. And just because anything can happen, I can't say that enough. Anything can happen in the playoffs. You just get there. I mean, look what's going to happen tonight with the Guardians and the Yankees. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We know what should happen. We know who's the better team, but we'll see what happens in Game 5.
So let's talk real quick about Game 5 where we get into previewing the NLCS. You mentioned, anything can happen. And especially in a situation like this where, Tito was often discussed yesterday and Bob Costas talked about, which, by the way, hearing Bob Costas do baseball commentary again is so fun. It's just so great.
It is. I love his voice, but
I know.
I kind of noticed a little bit. I'm like, well, that's kind of a strange take. Like very kind of like old school. Like he makes a little jabs a lot about today's game. Now I'm like,
he said there's something during the Guardians game about like there was a pickoff play, and he's like, if I was him, I'd go in spikes up on the next throw.
Oh yeah, I'm like,
oh my god,
take it easy, Bob.
Yeah,
you don't need to start a riot in New York just because Anthony Rizzo put his leg down, and
right.
You don't like that. Like, relax. But no, it's great. I love his voice. I mean, that feels like October to baseball to me. Having Bob Costas on, that's cool.
Do you like that Francona decided to kind of just use tonight as a bullpen game instead of going with Shane Bieber with everything on the line and just planning for Bieber to pitch Game 1 against Houston if they win?
Yeah, I like the fact that they're not starting him. Maybe kind of see where the game goes. Because let's say they put up 4 runs, and then 3 runs. They're like, well, we don't even need to pitch Shane tonight, so then you can save him. But if you get in a bind, then get that reliever in there to get you out of the jam and have him warm up and see what he can give you. But I think that's the right call, and I think that's what the Yankees are doing too with Cortez. So I'm fine with the decision, and I would be fine the other way around too. I mean, you want to go down with your horse, right? So I think best case scenario is that he doesn't pitch tonight because they don't need him.
Yeah, that's certainly best case scenario. I'm kind of on the other end. I get it. Hey, be confident in your team that you guys can win tonight with your bullpen because your bullpen's in much better shape than the Yankees going into tonight. But I really think it's not like Cleveland's rotation after Shane Bieber is really bad. You know what I mean? We've seen it throughout the season where, Shane Bieber pitches tonight, you guys pull off the win. Tristan McKenzie pitches game 1 against Houston. He's looked pretty good the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't think you can't manage to go for the next game for game 1 yet. So I understand what you're saying too. And it's fine. Yeah. I mean, it could go either way. You can make an argument for either way.
Yeah, because it looks like they have Aaron Savali and Jamison Tyon taking the mound for the Yankees tonight. So I guess they're kind of counting on those guys to probably get a few innings in.
Yeah, because that's what they'll do. They're going to try to somehow get to the 4th and 5th innings, and then it's just stud reliever after stud reliever on both sides.
Yeah, that makes it fun.
So that's the race to get the first 12 outs, and then here come the bullpen arms. So I think it's gonna be pretty low scoring, maybe like a 3-2.
Yeah, I do too. Did you I know you text us about it, so I'm bringing this to the show. Did you like Josh Naylor kind of going full-fledged Russell Westbrook on his homer?
I mean, it's pretty psycho of him. He's lucky that it was Garrett Cole that was on the mound and not he probably
Nolan
did it so
Ryan?
aggressively because it was Garrett Cole. And he knows that Garrett Cole's not going to do or really say anything about it. But I don't know. I guess it was a little much for me.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. I kind of like it. I really
It made
dig
me
it.
laugh. I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
If it was maybe if somebody did that against the Reds or the Padres, I would probably be really upset. But it made me laugh. Not much could get me riled up yesterday.
That's true. Yeah. I'm excited for tonight, man. That's the whole reason we went a little early this week. So it's gonna be fun. I know, like I've been saying all along, my wife's family are big Clevelanders, so they're texting me throughout the week, throughout the series, all fired up. So I want to see them celebrate. They certainly deserve it. So I'm with you guys, Cleveland.
I wish Nick was on just so we could ask him how the atmosphere was, because it looks nuts.
It does.
Everywhere during the playoffs. It's always usually loud, but if so many new teams and again with the Padres and the Phillies having been here for a long time, and Cleveland being a super underdog against the mighty Yankees, their fans are going nuts. It's the favorite part about the playoffs is the crowd noise. That's why I always wish they would pump up the crowd noise more than the broadcast sometimes.
I agree. Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Let's talk a little bit about the NLCS. Obviously, your beloved San Diego Padres taking on the Philadelphia Phillies in this upcoming series. So San Diego with home field advantage for the first 2 games. Obviously, then you got that 3-game trip there. Hopefully, you don't need much more than that. But in the circumstance that you do, the beauty is you get those last 2 games at home if needed, in front of the San Diego crowd. So Nick has been putting these up. So Fox has been putting together kind of picking the advantage at each position through the series. So Padres bullpen, Phillies rotation, Phillies catcher JT Realmuto, Rice Hoskins at first base. Young-Seon Kim, who has been, I don't know if I said that right, if I hope I did, has been awesome. Has been super good, far better than I thought he'd be. So maybe that's the Tim Daniel curse. He's this year's what's his face from the Brewers that I made fun of? Rowdy Tellez. He's this year's Rowdy Tellez, hopefully. So for your sake, obviously. What do you think, Ben?
Kim has been so much fun. He's been so solid. He's been I don't know, maybe their version of Kyle Farmer and what we wish maybe Kyle Farmer could have been, just that piece of the team, a little solid guy that you can throw out there all the time, going to hit 250 or whatever it is and have big moments just like he's doing now. Like, I think that's kind of, I mean, it's the first time I've really thought of it that way, but that's probably the role that the Reds wish that Kyle Farmer was playing. But no, he's been great. Been a lot of fun to watch. Put that screen back up. That, like, they're so even, at a lot of different places. Obviously DH Harper's going to win that by a landslide, and right now, I mean, third base Manny. I mean, you can't beat him there.
No.
You got Soto and Castellanos can easily have the same type of series as Soto. Marsh and Grisham in center field. Grisham is hot. He's playing well, so that's a toss-up. Schwarber, we're probably not going to get that production from our left fielders, but I mean, I don't understand the starting rotation going to the Phillies, really. I guess I just thought they had the two top guys, but I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot about them, but I mean, the Padres have three big dogs that could give you number one stuff at any night. So, and edge goes to the Padres bullpen, but the Phillies bullpen is no slouch either. It's gonna be fun. A lot of fun. Hopefully, they're exciting games.
How do you like Darvish going game one?
I like it. I think it'll be good. I like him. Hopefully, it's not a high pitch count. But no, it'll be cool.
So Wednesday, game 2 will be like at 3:30 your time. Are you leaving work early that day?
Yeah, I already told the boss I'm not taking a half day, and I'm out of here by probably 1, 2 o'clock.
Yeah, right on. I would too if my team was in the playoffs. I work from home, so that wouldn't really necessarily matter.
I mean, I'm pretty flexible too, so I don't know why I tried to act so hard just now, but
yeah, I won't ask you to make a prediction on this series, obviously, because I know it's really hard. And like you said, they're so evenly matched. And obviously, I don't want you to feel like you're jinxing anything. But
Padres in 6.
Oh, you're going to go and do it. Okay. All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to as well. I just feel like the way Machado's been swinging the bat and the way Kim has been swinging the bat. I just kind of feel like they're hard outs.
Yeah. Like game 1 is going to be pretty important, I think, because I think it'll be okay if San Diego loses game 2. If they win game 1, I think it'll be fine. But oh, man, I'm so excited.
This feels like a big Juan Soto series is coming, doesn't it?
That AB Saturday night too. I for sure he was going to hit a double or a homer and just smoke that ball to right field.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm really excited, man. Got some really fun down to the wire playoffs, and got to get started fresh on Tuesday. Then Wednesday you've got back-to-backs with the Padres at 4:30 Eastern and the Astros versus whoever wins tonight at 7:37 Eastern. So yeah, man, bit of fun playoffs. I hope it keeps going. Really excited to see how things go the rest of the way. We do obviously, as a Reds show, have to talk some Reds news. There's not a whole lot out there necessarily. So if we're looking here real quick, multiple players who were part of the Major League roster this year were cleared waivers, were outrighted to Louisville. Raynel Espanola, Ryan Hendricks, and Chucky Robinson, who got a ton of at-bats towards the end of the year as everyone was kind of filling in. Michael Papierski, who also had some time with the big league roster this year, claimed off waivers by the Detroit Tigers. Woo, take a shot today, Tim. You tell it's a Monday. And basketball season starts tomorrow on top of these baseball playoffs, so I'm all over the place. And then catchers Aramis Garcia and Mark Colesbury were claimed by waivers by the Orioles. So the Reds lose 3 catchers on an already not super deep position in the organization. Obviously, a lot of confidence in Tyler Stevenson. It looks like probably a veteran catcher. Maybe they keep Austin Romine for next year to kind of back up Tyler Stevenson. Who knows?
If not him, they better bring in somebody with some experience and not wait until halfway through the season to do that. It's so silly. It's so easy to do. Just do it. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Carrick Melvin chiming in. He said, "I'm surprised that Chucky was the one that cleared." I I don't know if I necessarily am. Garcia makes a lot of sense that he got picked up by somebody. I feel like the one thing we could really only say about Colesbury is he got a silver medal in the Olympics. He wasn't, super awesome here by any means. And then Papirski, we saw him get a couple of hits when you came to town. That was cool. But
yeah, I had dinner at a table next to him.
Yeah, that's right. You did. That was pretty cool. So that was kind of fun. Obviously, I know there's going to be a lot of movements through the off season, but kind of get started on some moves there as well. Let's go real quick to the off season calendar. So November 1st and 2nd is the deadline to move players from the 60-day IL to the active roster. And it's, TJ Antone, Vlad Gutierrez, Jeff Hoffman, Tony Santillan, Art Warren, Tyler Stevenson, Joey Votto, Nick Senzel, and Mike Moustakas all eligible for that. And then through the 6th, they have decisions on club player options and qualifying offers. And then to protect guys from the Rule 5, as Carlos is very familiar with, the Rule 5.
Shout out to Rule 5.
Yeah. 40-man roster's got to be finalized by November 20th. December 2nd, like we said last week, the Friday of Reds Fest, the non-tender deadline. Will there be a Billy Hamilton this year? As one of our listeners reminded us, he got cut on the day of Reds Fest last year at the Reds. Really happened.
I hope so.
And then winter meetings, and obviously December 6th, the draft lottery, which we will be doing a live reaction show. And then December 11th is the Rule 5 draft. So obviously a lot to look forward to there. Are we already out of slides? Wow. Maybe the show's going to go much quicker than I thought it was, Carlos.
Yeah, unless we want to talk more about playoff baseball.
We can talk all the playoff baseball you want.
There's not a whole lot left on the Rojos right now.
Yeah, I guess a lot of winter ball updates. I wish Nick was here for those. Kind of make that a little easier.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Hopefully those guys are playing and come playoff time. Those games are fun to watch.
I think Doug said something like Ellie De La Cruz had another insane game in.
Oh yeah, I saw some stat line. I'm thought to myself, what if he just tears it up in the winter ball league? So that's basically tearing it up against elite AA competition and AAA-ish. It's probably the equivalent, closer to AAA, I guess. Anyway, if he tears that up and then goes and have a great spring training, it's almost forcing their hand. Which,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. As Reds fans, that was probably what you would want. You probably would want them to manipulate his playing time. His clock right now. There's no point to start it next year. But I don't know, man. If he just performs, they're gonna have to.
Yeah, at some point it's just gonna kind of click, right?
Oh, there's his line: 4 for 5, 2 walks, double and a triple.
That's insane.
That's bananas.
Yeah, this is pretty fun. Obviously, as much as you're allowed to tell me with your guys' relationship, that's maybe they haven't interacted much. Has Joey said anything about spring training with this kid, or have you heard anything from Joey about him?
He doesn't really talk about the young prospects very much, just because there's really not much time to give them a whole lot of his time while he's trying to prepare for a season. But he did mention him during spring. This fact, the sound off of the ball coming off the bat and how athletic he is and stuff like that, but not too in depth about it.
Yeah. So Carrick kind of brings up the point: 31% strikeout rate, no reason to start his clock. I mean, isn't that baseball right now anyway for batters? High strikeouts and.
Yeah. I mean, it's my dogs start barking.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, you'd like for him to get his K rate down, but
Of course.
if you're still hitting 320 with however many bombs and 900 OPS, and you're striking out at 30%, who gives a shit? You're putting up numbers so If that's his only fault and he's still putting up these numbers, then I don't think that's enough to keep him down.
Yeah, he does make the point here as well. That's in Double-A. No telling what it'd be against Major League pitching. And
Sure, that's for sure. And
yeah,
that even goes for AAA because, I mean, just 2 years ago, Barrero puts up crazy numbers. Give me a second.
So dogs are going crazy for those who, I don't know, Nick will probably edit this out. So
Sorry.
that's okay. Hey, man, I have 2 dogs too. I get it.
What are we talking? Oh yeah, like I mean, he just tore up AAA pitching, and then it took Major League pitching 2 days to figure out how to get him out. It's different. Don't get excited. The way that you guys like to say, don't pay any attention to GMs whenever they talk. Do not pay attention to minor league stats whenever we're talking about major league hitting or pitching, vice versa. Don't fall in love with it. It can be part of your argument, but don't let it be the overwhelming part of it.
That's fair. I like to lay it down the middle.
Yeah, because they're prospects for a reason, right? They have the highest chance of the group to get there. I understand that. I get it. But you can be as highly touted as Barrero was. Not saying that he's done with at all by any means, but just like look how quick that turned out to be. Like one would almost think that he's had his chance, but that's how fast it happens, man. Like just don't fall in love with what these players do in the minor leagues. I'm saying at the same time, I'm not saying don't enjoy them because I get it as a fan. As you're not just a fan of the professional. The big league club, you're a fan of the whole organization. I get that. So, but anyway, just ranting now.
Would I be springing too much on you at the moment if I asked you about TJ Antone? So coming back from Tommy John, obviously was extremely successful his rookie year. Like, how patient should Reds fans be as he's getting back in the groove of pitching innings again?
I mean, I wouldn't get too excited. You would hope. I mean, he's going to have to learn how to do it still without the sticky stuff because we don't know for sure, but his numbers went way down before he got hurt. At this point, I think it would just be a bonus if he came back and gave him something, something solid. It would. But I wouldn't count on it really. And the same kind of goes with Sims because he's had a couple of years where he's been hurt, and so it's like, well, we can't really count on him, but if he gives us something, then all right, awesome.
Yeah, the reason I ask is only because there was something that I saw the other day on Twitter, and it was like top players to be most excited about returning from Tommy John, and TJ Antone was on the list. So I mean,
he's had nasty stuff, so there's no reason not to be, I guess, but that's tough. Come back from the second one now, right?
I think, yeah, you're right. Second one. So
I think, I'm not sure. Sorry, don't quote me on that. Nick, edit this out if it's not there. That's not true.
Yeah, I think just having Lucas Sims and TJ Antone back, no matter what they do, is probably an upgrade from what we saw.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
It was a rough one, buddy.
It was. But I'm excited to see what they can bring. We're all kind of in the mind frame that obviously the 2023 season doesn't feel like it's going to be, super exciting. It's probably going to be a lot more fill-in players, as Jamie described a couple weeks ago when he was on the show. But if those two guys can kind of come back and just kind of become promising parts at the end of the bullpen, obviously that would just do so much for, whatever 2024, 2025 looks like, especially with such, plenty of major league ownership on their contracts.
Yeah. But it's like what the playoffs are showing us right now. You're not that far away. You're not as far. I mean, sign a couple of good players.
Yeah.
And be somewhat healthy next year. Get a couple of bullpen arms. It's not going to be that hard to get to be slightly over 500. I mean, you've got a great core coming back in the pitching staff. Maybe see what Votto can give you. Some homers, have a solid India bounce back year.
T. Steve.
Tyler Steven, a healthy all-star type of year. I mean, and then you sign a couple of free agents. It's really not that far away. That's why I'm kind of really, really confused about what the 23 is going to look like and what they're commenting about it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just not certain they're going to make the dive in just because, like we've kind of talked about, this is kind of the year the books become cleaner.
Yeah, but they don't have to spend a whole lot. I mean,
You're right.
I don't know.
mean,
So if they don't, say they go down to from their normal, what is their normal, like 125-ish? Has it been, not counting last year? Say they go down to like 80 and they're just going to save. Okay, so does that mean the next year they're going to use that extra $40 million on top of the 125? Are they just going to save that money, period, and not use it ever? Like, to me, that's where it's like, what are we doing? Why? 'Cause I think
get
that'll
that.
answer a lot of questions on what they did the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I do think you kind of need a mixture. Like, I totally agree with, like you said, prospects are prospects. But if you're seeing a lot of these these teams doing really well in the postseason, a lot of these guys are homegrown talent, but also, you are seeing guys who made moves to really help their team. I mean, I don't know, maybe since like when the Royals won, has it been a full homegrown core? But I definitely think that still matters as far as building major league teams. And I think the 2012 Reds are a perfect example of kind of like all those young guys that came together and wanted that year. I know it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but yeah, I think you're right to kind of roundabout way go back to your point. There's going to be some good talent out there in the 2023 free agency. Winter meetings are obviously a big thing. I think one of the things we've talked about too with these prospects is, everyone kind of is like, well, when this guy's in the big league roster and this guy's in the big league roster, perfect world, sure. But also, a lot of times you stack prospects to see if it's a possibility you might be able to swing to get a better player to help your team out. So maybe that's an option. I don't know. They haven't really been very vocal about that. But obviously they are definitely wearing the 100 losses. You saw by the moves they made with the coaching staff. So I'm excited to see how everything's going to play out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting whenever they start, making their first one or two signings. See where they go with it. I hope it's more of a, for the lack of a better word right now, more of a try than it was. And I know they get beat up for not trying this year, but they weren't even close to being healthy either. So,
Right.
It's kind of unfair, but well, they didn't try at the All-Star break or whenever. I just hope it's gets more away from that than not, and then Crawl saying what he said. It just, I'm like, why would you say that? Just stop talking, Crawl.
A further point of this, see someone has been tap him on the shoulder and be like, that's enough. That's enough.
That's
enough.
it. Wrap it up. Delete that last quote.
Yeah. Carrick does make a good point here. As far as like they may want to give at bats to these guys like Frito, Fraley, Ciani, Senzel, Lopez, Steer, and so forth to see who will be in the 2024 plans. But that's a lot of at bats you also have to give away in that same point.
But yeah, put his comment back up there.
Sure.
Please. Fraley, Steer, and Barrero are the only ones that I want to see have ABs. Like Frito, I think he's okay for somebody to call up. I think he's a fine 4A player. Ciani, Senzel at this point, Lopez, I think they're in Fairchild are fine 4A players. But if they're not going to, put the money towards trying to compete to try to make it interesting next year, then sure, fine, give them all of that because that's what they're going to have to do. So there's really not, I don't think they really care to give these guys ABs like on the field guys like David Bell. I don't think this is what he wants to choose from.
Yeah. I think that's
because they should be getting their ABs in AAA. seeing what they have, put up crazy numbers there, and then come up and get your Barreto shot, get your steer shot. And I guess Ciani, I don't know how high he is, but I think he's one of the top prospects, right?
To my
Wasn't he like around
knowledge.
20-ish? Yeah, something like that.
Really good fielder, really fun fielder to watch is kind of the scouting report.
Yeah, but none of those guys are starters on playoff teams, really, at this point.
Every day is like a field trip says, I just want a reliable bullpen next year, and we're with you, my friend.
Oof. That's tough to get a reliable bullpen, period, even if you do spend some money.
Yeah, I mean, look at your prime example. The Padres traded for Josh Hader, and it was like, pretty scary there for a bit. Almost got them out of the playoffs, and now they're in the LCS.
Together, knock on wood.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we just kind of wanted to get a quick one in before the game starts tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the schedule for the offseason while we're trying to get through the playoffs. So next week, October 27th on Thursday, back to our normal 9:00. I will be out of town. I'll be in beautiful Orlando, Florida. Can't wait. November 3rd, also Thursday at 9. I'm planning to be back, but who knows? Got some stuff that day as well. But you'll have Nick and Carlos there. November 9th, Wednesday at 9, and November 17th, Thursday at 9. So please just, like I said, take this 2 seconds, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will go ahead and make sure that you guys are updated through everything as well with all our social medias. Please, like I said, latenighreds.merchmake.com. If you want to support the brand, go get some merch, get some nice tees and stuff. That helps us out a lot. We'll be very, very grateful. Go ahead and give us a solid 5-star reviews on your podcast subscriber of choice. And as always, please make sure to take the second to go to BetOnline. Use that 100% welcome bonus. Get that BLEAV 50 bonus. Make some money, hopefully on the Bengals beating the Falcons this weekend, especially after yesterday being so fun. So on behalf of Nick and Carlos, I'm Tim Daniel. Thank you all for tuning in to Late Night Reds Talk Live. But everyone wish Carlos the best of luck as the Padres get in the NLCS.
Go Pods, baby.
We'll see you guys next week.